21 years old. You're the youngest Mansory driver. Millions in revenue on a monthly basis.
I took action. I had to go all in. Let's go to Louis Vuitton today. I'll make money again tomorrow.
Money moves fast, right?
I set my mind to fucking 10 figures. I was walking like I was the man. If you can't handle that, you're not in my team.
You've been through some tough times, bro. At 18 years old, 300k in debt.
I like fear. You shouldn't be scared to fall on your face. That's just for pussies. When you're not comfortable, you're growing. I had too much of an ego. I got humbled very quick.
You gotta move fast to be able to attract the money.
Everybody can run a store, but not everybody can run a business. Just don't come to play, man. Don't take part, take over.
Welcome back to another episode of the TheoClarkePodcast, where I interview e-commerce entrepreneurs. This podcast is sponsored by Commercive Fulfilment, and today I have the pleasure of speaking with Difaino Harting. Difaino, how are you, brother?
I'm doing good, brother. How are you? Thank you for having me, bro.
Thank you for coming. Like I say, it really is a pleasure. I'm really looking forward to this conversation, and I know you're a busy guy, so I really appreciate you taking the time out of your day to be here.
Again, thank you for inviting me. Feels good to be here. Before we start, we had a little conversation earlier. We're gonna go more deep into that, of course, later down the line. But I saw a little empty wrist, which, in my opinion, it's not possible, bro. So I bought a little gift, just a small gesture, nothing too special. But there's one single rule my mom gave me. When I build new relations, I always have to introduce myself in a good way and leave a good impression. So my way of building relations for the first time is always giving a small gesture. So, yeah.
I really, really appreciate that, brother. Thank you. That's very, very kind of you. And you've definitely made a very good first impression. Shall I put it down for now and open it at the end? Or
open it at the end, bro. All yours.
I really, really appreciate that, bro.
You will like it for sure, for sure.
Seriously, brother, thank you very much. That's very, very kind of you.
I got you,
It's a very,
bro.
very kind gesture.
I got you.
So, what I want to do is hopefully just give everyone a little bit of background on yourself, and then, like you say, get into dropping some ecom source. So, Difaino, I know a bit about you, having watched a recent podcast that you did, and I just wanted to give everyone a brief introduction. Hopefully I get all the details right. I've hopefully researched well, so we shall see. But you've been in the ecom game for 5 years now. You're 21 years old, and you have multiple e-commerce brands, or you did have multiple until recently, and then you successfully exited one of them. You drive a Bentley Mansory, and supposedly, according to the car dealership here in Dubai, you're the youngest Mansory driver. So we'll take that. And probably most impressively of all, in recent months, your brands cumulatively have generated between 1.4 to 1.8 million USD per month. And honestly, bro, that is crazy. I know you have... you hold yourself very, very highly, and it's very good that you do that. I also know you're quite hard on yourself. You're always trying to be the best possible version of yourself and really competing, as you say, with the man in the mirror. But I hope as well that you are proud of what you've been able to achieve. And the reason I say that is because I know that you've been through some tough times, bro, like some really, really tough, probably quite dark times for someone that is only 21, you know? And I know a few short years ago, you were... at 18 years old, 300k in debt, 300,000 euros in debt at 18 years old. So I can only begin to imagine what that must have felt like, or kind of what that must have been like, and how suffocating that must have been. But you didn't only overcome that, you've paid off all of the debt, surpassed it, and now you're doing as much as millions in revenue on a monthly basis. Not profit, but revenue. And I know you're investing a lot of that profit back into your brand. So you've been on quite the journey, and you've done some fantastic things already by 21. I think to achieve those things in a lifetime is impressive, but to do it by 21 is amazing, bro. So I hope you're proud of yourself, and I would love, if you don't mind, to maybe learn a little bit more about that journey. I've kind of dropped some of the bigger details of it, but no doubt there was a lot more in between. So if you don't mind, would you mind giving maybe a short summary, maybe sort of 5-10 minutes of your journey at 16, how you first got started into ecom, how it then transpired into debt, to then paying off all of the debt and becoming the man that you are today, and doing these £1 million months.
And we are just starting out, man. There's no room to become comfortable at all. Like, still young, still starting out. And I really believe I've seen everything or experienced everything in the hardest way possible.
Yeah.
I've really been through some shit, but that's what made me the man I am today, right? So it's really you versus the man in the mirror. That's what I always say. That's what I always repeat to everyone I'm around with. I always say that, and that's really a fact. That's how to grow. The comfort zone should be your biggest enemy. And for me, I was always in a position there was no space or no room to fall back. Like I had to go all in, and maybe that's why I am where I am today. I don't know. For me, it feels like I'm still not even on 1% of my full potential, right? So even 6 months ago, I was nowhere doing near these numbers. Like I'm scared to even think about where I will be in like 5 years. So it's just starting out. It's weird. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's going very fast, and it's hard to keep up with.
Yeah, for sure. I know you said you're kind of a man of speed, like very quick to implement.
Yeah.
I think you said money moves fast, right? So you gotta move fast to be able to attract the money.
Yeah.
And I realized that, especially as I feel like I'm getting much closer to 30 now, I need to be speeding up. I need to be going quicker rather than slowing down. But I think that says a lot about your mindset and your character. And I'll drop one more thing in before maybe we go back to kind of where it started at 16, just to describe your character. I know recently you went to Sweden for like 4 months in winter, right?
Yeah.
Locked yourself away, no social media, just full send on grind mode. And I think that says a lot about your character, your ability to just switch off and do what you need to be. Do what you need to do to get to where you need to be. So no doubt that's a big attribute as to how you've been able to get to where you are today. But if we were to just kind of take it back to 16 years old, what was your first entry into ecom like? How did you kind of get the ball rolling?
It was a funny stage of my life. It was a good time, honestly, when I just started out. I was going to school. It was pre-COVID. I think 2018, 2019, something like that. Going to school, just a regular kid, playing football, just a regular 16-year-old, right? I was having a side job. I was delivering pizzas at Domino's, actually. And I used that money at some time to invest in my first stock. Why I bought first stock in the beginning, it's a big mistake. We will go into that now. But I didn't have money for a course, bro. Like, not at all. I was maybe earning 400 euros a month, working 5 times a week. Because when you are 16 in the Netherlands, you can only work like certain hours a day, like 3 hours a day. I was working every day, bro, just to have the maximum amount of salary, right? So I used that money to invest in my first stock, as I said. And I didn't have money to buy a course, but the thing I had to gain knowledge was time. I had enough time. So I invested literally all the time I had into gaining knowledge. I think at that time, any YouTube video that says the title Ecom, I've seen that. Any YouTube video with the title Shopify, I've seen that. I had a notebook which was just filled with notes and all insights and value and nuggets. I was like spitting out YouTube like 5 hours a day, like crazy. And I all got different types of strategies, and it was not the best way of doing research, of course. But at the end of it, what matters is that I took action. So there are a lot of people out there that are just trying to gain knowledge and trying to watch all these videos, but they don't do nothing, right? In the first 2 weeks, I was trying to learn more about ecom. I bought the first stock. I didn't even know dropshipping was existing back then. I was thinking everybody was buying stock and fulfilling themselves, right? So actually, funny enough, maybe it was luck, maybe I was just super smart at the time, but my first brand, it actually took off, like, very well. So I can just share the strategy, like, why not? Well, what I did, basically, it was a beauty product, which was super cheap on Alibaba. So at the time, I only bought, like, 50 pieces or 100 pieces because I didn't have more money. And then in the first place, I was shocked by the shipping rates. At the end of the day, I got a tax invoice from FedEx. I was like, yo, what the fuck is this, you know? It was all new to me, and it's good to look back on that now. I speak about it, but what I did at this time, TikTok wasn't like what it's now today, right? It was just new, was coming up. And in my school, there were all these girls. It was like a flex to have a lot of followers on TikTok because it was quite easy at the time. Like, at that time, it was very easy to hack like engagement and all that stuff. So everyone had followers, bro. So at the time, what I used to do is like pay girls in my school to promote my product. So there was a beauty product, bro. So they just showed the product in their video and it got views. People came to the website and it did numbers. Like, at the time, I wasn't doing like crazy, like 300, 400 euros a day, but I was making this a month with like pizza delivery, right? So, bro, I was doing good with this business, but I kept delivering pizzas for like, I think 8-9 months. till there was a point that I made like my first 1K day. Whilst I was on the bike, like delivering the pizzas. I still have a video from this. It was funny as hell. And that was the day I quit my job. When you quit, you have to work like an extra month, like this and that. So I waited a long time to quit this job. And basically what I did, I didn't run any paid ads because I didn't know how to. I didn't even know there was a thing. I just repeatedly used these influencers and these creators to promote my product. At that time, TikTok ads, it just released. It was super new then back in Europe. So I launched that as well. That took off. And actually, after a year and a half of doing that, I was 17, 17. I got an email from some random guy. He was like, "Hey, I'm interested in your brand. Let's work together." I was, "No, can I buy the brand?" Okay, let's sit around the table. I was a one-man business. You need to understand. I did my website. I did the content. I was fulfilling my own orders. At some point, I was going to the store like to give them my packages. They was like, "No, it's too much. Like, go away," you know. And my mom was always helping me and supporting me. Like, I had to do everything in her name because I was literally too young. I wasn't allowed to do business banking and all that stuff. So my mom helped me with making an exit at the time, which was just a very, very, very little, small amount of money. I was very stupid at the time, of course, but I saw the price tag, was like, yeah, take it. Yeah. So I was like, okay, I've done it with one product. I never thought about adding SKUs or anything. I was like unknown about all these things out there, right? So at the time, I was like, okay, I can do this with one product, right? What can I do with all the products out there? Let me do dropshipping. I can literally do what I'm doing now with all the products I have access to. Because you have the FOMO, right? When you're running just one product, you see other products coming by and this and that. You want to test these out. You want to see if they perform. So I sold the brand for, I wouldn't say exit. I just got rid of the brand, let me say that. And started doing dropshipping. And from there, things took off. I got a course from the money I took from getting rid of the brand. And from there, I started really learning about Ecom, like paid ads, running a business, hiring people. I was not a one-man business anymore. And that's where things really have changed. So it was a fun journey. Like, I was going to school, come back from school, packing my orders and bringing them to the store, and then go back to work. And it was just a cycle, bro. I wasn't doing anything else. And it's good that I actually enjoyed this stage of life. Like, that was the first step into Ecom, yeah.
For sure. Very young age to be getting into online, especially ecom, which is great. I feel like people these days are getting younger and younger. Like, it's starting to become more and more common for people in their teenage years to start getting into ecom, which is great to see. But back in 2019, 2020, kind of pre-COVID, you were doing well with this dropshipping brand. And then how did you go from doing well and scaling a brand to then being over leveraged and in debt?
So this was for me when I, again, sold the brand. I literally took this dropshipping store and I went all in because this was the time COVID started. I didn't have school. I didn't have work. Obviously, I quit work at the time. I had finally something I can put my time and even money into because I had some money from the brand, right? I could go all in. I was like, okay, if I feel this now, I'm literally stupid. Like, I don't deserve nothing in this life, right? So I was in a position where I had to go all in, and I did that, and it actually worked out. Like, I had a coach, I bought some courses, I learned more about paid ads and everything. I was enjoying the first few bits, like doing my first 1K day, going on my first holiday with like Ecom money, buying my first MacBook, buying my first designer. Like, this was the phase where things are slowly taking on, right? So I was still learning. I was still stupid. Like, let me be honest, I was just stupid. I didn't know how to run a business. Like, everybody can run a store, but not everybody can run a business. They're two totally different things. So at the time, when I started scaling my business, I was just going too fast because I really knew what I was doing. Like, I was scaling effortlessly, like good numbers, crazy good numbers. At one point, I started over leveraging too much. Like, at the time, some Dutch people, they might know this. At the time, TikTok ads was popping. Like, there was the new thing. There was the thing that was going crazy. And that was what I was doing at the time. I was maybe the first one of the few ecom guys in the Netherlands that was running TikTok ads. I'm talking 4 or 5 years ago. It was super new. At the time, you could get TikTok ad accounts on credit. Bro, I had 3-4 of these ad accounts, 25K monthly each.
Wow.
I could spend whatever I want. And I was doing good, bro. But the back end, the business itself, it was shit. Bro, I don't know what my product even looks like. I didn't do any quality checks. I don't even know the name of my dropshipping agent, like these kind of things, my customer service. It's nothing, you know?
Running an e-commerce business comes with many different challenges, especially when it comes to order fulfillment. Late deliveries, high shipping costs, and customer complaints can negatively impact your business, potentially leading to payment processing holds that will eat into your profit margins. That's why I'm excited to introduce you to Commercive, our sponsor today. They handle everything from manufacturing to storage and shipping with no hidden fees. And their dedicated WhatsApp support team are on hand to make sure you're always taken care of. Commercive offers 5 to 10 day shipping worldwide from China, with same-day processing and USA warehousing available for brands at competitive rates. Having served over 3,000 e-commerce sellers, Commercive has earned a reputation for reliable fulfillment. It's super easy to get set up. Just click the link in the video description and visit commercive.co to get a free quote.
I started over leveraging my business. Everything was built on credit. Like literally everything is on credit. The ad spend, the supplier, the cost of goods, everything, bro. When I started over leveraging that, it was just too much. Like I was maybe getting too comfortable. I was seeing my dashboard, okay, 5K a day, let me say 20% profit. Okay, let's go to Louis Vuitton today. I'll make money again tomorrow. Like I didn't knew what cash flow meant at the time. I didn't knew I needed to use this cash flow for growth, right? Over leveraging my business, got into payment processing issues, didn't get my payout, all refunds, all chargebacks, unhappy customers. I had to pay back all the credit, all the credits I used from TikTok, from everywhere. And that's how I got in trouble. When this first started, it wasn't as that bad, but you keep going down the rabbit hole, bro. Like the longer it takes, the worse it's gonna get because the costs they keep running, bro. So you keep spending and trying to figure things out. You have business expenses, right?
Yeah.
That makes sense. So the longer it took, the worse it got, and it took a long time, bro.
Yeah, for sure. I can only imagine, and I'm not surprised that. So what would you have been then? 17, 18?
I think I just got 18.
So no doubt you didn't understand finances.
No.
I don't think anyone truly understands finances at 18. And then, like you say, to be experiencing that kind of money where you're looking in a dashboard and you can see you've made 1K profit, you know, anyone that's sort of 17 or 18 years old is not going to be sensible with that money. Or why would you understand credit? If you know that you can get 100K in credit on TikTok ads and that's going to generate you 1K in profit a day, why would you say no? You know, especially you're not really thinking about those things. So I think it makes sense, and not that you had to go through it, but I'd imagine you're probably a lot more careful with your finances and your cash flow now.
Yeah. Now we good. I learned it the hard way, so I'm very thankful for that, of course. Like everyone should, you shouldn't be scared to fall on your face. I did that. I felt really hard. I still have scars from this, but it teach me a lesson, and I needed a lesson. I think at that age, it's hard to admit, I had too much of an ego, bro. I thought I was everything and everyone. Like I was walking like I was the man. I was maybe not showing it, but I was feeling it. I was feeling unstoppable. I was looking at supercars, bro. I'm seeing, okay, I have 1K a day. Let me see, if I save up 2 months and baby scale the ads, I can buy a Lambo like in 2 months. Bro, like that's the way you start thinking when you're 8. You feel unstoppable, bro. Like even when you go back to school, I was still going to school, bro. You see this, everything was in an online Zoom meeting, right? It was COVID period. I had too big of an ego to listen to my teacher, bro. Like, let me be honest. I was doing 5-6K a day, which at the time, like 4 years ago, 3.5, it was big. These were big numbers back then. Now the levels are set, but back then it was huge. I had too much of an ego, and I felt unstoppable. And I got humbled very quick.
Yeah, for sure. But you managed to turn it all around and not only get rid of the debt, but kind of go on to build the brands that you own today, which we said was 3 up until recently, and you sold and exited one. So I know you've shared this on another podcast, but I think it is just still interesting to pay off that debt. You actually ended up partnering up with someone else who was also in debt because you felt as though you couldn't talk to your school friends about it, being 300k in debt. Like, how is anyone going to comprehend or even understand that? So you ended up partnering up with someone else. You made his problems your problems, and he made his problems your problems, and together you kind of came together. And am I right in thinking you actually, even though you're in debt, you actually moved to Dubai to basically feed off the energy and the environment here to get you back in the right state of mind to start paying off that debt and sort of scaling back past it, and then further scaling your brands beyond that point. So you bringing or starting those new brands is really, I guess, kind of what changed everything for you. What did that process look like? Like, where do you start when it comes to building a brand? Because this is something that I'd imagine you're probably very dialed in at by this stage, 3 successful brands. So for those that are looking to launch a brand, where would you start? How do you validate a niche and identify that it'd be a good niche to pursue, and then start bringing products to market?
I would say I take a reverse approach to that. So I never look at products or things that I see as interesting, or okay, let me test out this product, or I look at data, bro. Like, I don't test products like that. I think a lot of dropshippers that are used to testing products and just see if they get sales or not. That's a fucking horrible way to do it, basically, to test it. Sorry for my language, but I do it in a reverse way. So you need to understand and go back to literally the basics of marketing, right? So what I always do is understand the customer persona. Once you have that customer persona, that avatar, you can name it whatever. Let's say Karen, right? What product fits to Karen? What product is going to solve solutions for Karen? What product is emotionally attached to Karen? And you sell an emotion, not a product. You have to understand that. So from there, it's very easy to build a brand. The better you understand your persona, the better you can, the easier it's going to be to create your content, because you can build it straight to Karen. The easier it's going to be to create your funnels, because you can create it straight to Karen. You can literally, your copywriting can be literally formed around Karen. You can literally like tell her like, hey Karen, this is your product, this is for you. Like, and even with traffic, when you understand your persona, you know where your traffic is, right? Where your customer persona is, and you can dial into that. So I think the basics, what really people misunderstand is a lot of dropshippers, you can ask them the question. I always like to say this to my clients, to my students. Hey, your last 1,000 orders, who are they? Who are these people? Is it women? Is it men? Old, young? What they look like? Where they're from? They don't have answers, bro. And that's a very big mistake. Every 9-figure brand, like I always take that example, you have to take notes from 9-figure brands. You can land on their website and you see in 1 second who they're targeting to. So I have I'll give you a good example. My CRO guy, he gave me the perfect example, right? So he was doing a website in the pets niche. So basically it was a supplement or supplement for pets, right? But it wasn't only for dogs or for cats or whatever. It was basically for all pets. So what he did, it was basically showing pictures on the website of all pets. So people the pet owners that come to the website, they can understand an owner or someone that owns a fucking hamster can see, okay, this product is also for my hamster or for my cat or for my dog. It makes sense. So you need to really understand your customer persona, and that's just gonna make everything way more easy. Like, it's very easy to dial into that. So that's step one. And build around that. So always a good tip I give is like, it's very easy to build a brand around your own customer persona, because you understand yourself, right? You understand your emotions, you understand your buying powers, your problems. So it's easy to build around that.
So identifying your ideal customer persona, marketing to them and understanding who they are, and then you'll know how to best speak to them. You mentioned you also leverage data, which I love. Obviously, being a Google Ads guy, that's what it's all about. So if you are launching a brand, then what assets do you have available to pull data from that can give you an indication that this is a good ideal customer persona to target?
So when it comes to a product, you can have loads of different angles, right? With any product, let's say water, you can sell it as hydration, you can sell it as cleaning, you can sell it in any single angle, right? So I hope that makes sense. So when it comes to testing data or getting data, when it comes to testing campaigns, for example, we don't just test a product. We test everything we possibly can think of: offers, lenders, creatives, angles, different personas. And basically by gaining that data, we can understand, okay, what works best and what can we dive into. I always say, when you get good at reading data, how can you be unprofitable? How can you lose? Because you can exactly see where you can improve, right? So I think that's a very valuable skill to have. Once you start reading data well, there's no way you can become unprofitable.
Yeah, I always say the numbers never lie.
Numbers never lie.
And like they say, what gets tracked gets managed, right? So as long as you're aware of what these numbers are, what your KPIs are, and what the data is telling you, and you can map that out across the funnel, either on all marketing platforms or even just each individual platform, you can see where the lagging metrics are, improve the lagging metrics, and it should improve the funnel, right? So yeah, I think I agree with that. It makes complete sense. So you would really do a deep dive on your ideal customer profile, and then not just test the product with maybe an angle that you think is going to work. You would test all of the angles, all of the different offers, even maybe more than one product at a time or whatever it may be, and then analyze the data to decide on what are the best next steps, and then I guess relaunch ads or dial in on what's been working. Is that right?
Yeah, exactly. That's something you have to dive into. You always have to take examples of the big fishes in the sea, right? So when you look at collection pages, for example, or the SKUs of big brands, they always make sense to the same audience and they always sell the same emotions, right? So you can, let's say a teeth whitening brand, right? They sell the emotion of getting brighter teeth or getting better teeth health or whatever. But the other products they're selling on their website, they're selling the same emotion, the same likelihood of achievement, right? So they might sell toothbrushes or toothpaste or other products that help you brighten your teeth, right? So it may be different products, but it's solving the same emotion or solving the same problem for that customer persona. So you need to understand, like, it's more deeper than just a product. It's way more deeper. You can literally create winners, if that makes sense.
Yeah, 100%. That makes complete sense. Yeah, no, I appreciate you sharing that. So I know with your first brand, you bought stock because you didn't really know what dropshipping was or how it worked. With your more recent brands, the three kind of recent ones, did you start those with dropship or was it the same? Was it stock investment?
So I have one brand that I failed, or not failed, I just never took too much attention and time on it. That was a brand that I bought stock from again. And I bought it this time to the Netherlands, which was a huge mistake. So I bought huge pallets of stock to the Netherlands before any proof of concept, before anything that I can stand my feet on. And at the end of it, it was a very big mistake. So from there, whenever I start something new, I always start dropshipping. Just to gain proof of concept. The more proof of concept you have, the easier it's to build to the next step, right?
Yeah.
I always say don't compare your level 1 to someone else level 100. Dropshipping is just a great way to get proof of concept. And it's not like now it used to be. You can actually, with good shipping and stuff, you can deliver fast and like quality. You can get custom packaging and all of that fancy stuff, but it's just gaining data, and that's the key. So the more proof of concept you have, the more you can build into the next steps, and that's how you build a company, right?
Yeah, for sure. When's the right time to transition away from dropshipping and into a brand, and what does that process look like?
There's no overthinking that way. When it prints money, and you move into the next step. So it builds in, it goes hand in hand with your cash flow. I'm now at a point that I just recently started a new brand. I have cash. I can play around. I can make mistakes. For me, there's room to make mistakes, and I'm experienced. I know what I'm doing. I know for a fact that this product is gonna work. Like I can bank that risk. I can make that calculated risk, right? I've made a lot of risk in my life, but this is gonna be a good one. So because you're just gonna feel it. Like people are always asking me, how do you know if a creative is performing well or a funnel is performing? If it prints you money, like go to basics. If it prints you money, dial into that. This is easy.
Yeah, cash in versus cash out, I guess.
Yeah.
So let's assume then that you've got proof of concept with dropshipping, then segued into a brand. At this point, or when you launch brands and products, do you tend to just scale in one market? You mentioned Netherlands earlier, which I know is where you're from. Because I see what a lot of people are now doing is kind of horizontally scaling across a lot of European locations. I don't really hear people, or at least people from Europe, speak as much of the US and places like that now.
Yeah.
So if you were scaling a brand, or when you scaled your brands, did you scale vertically and get proof of concept in Netherlands and then go horizontal, or did you just kind of, what was the approach?
I think that goes hand in hand with building a company. I've learned that the hard way. I've recently exited a brand, like I told you, and I got an observation phase of 9 months. We call it the pregnancy phase, right? So 9 months, I was under the loop and basically had to do everything A to Z perfect. Because if I didn't do it, then the exit wouldn't happen, right? Oh, okay. So I really had to build a company. before, like with dropshippers and all this stuff, you build a store. You have a customer service agent. You maybe have a store manager and whatnot, but that's it. You have nothing to stand on. You have nothing to build on. You're not gaining momentum. So I've really learned the hard way how to really build a company, if that makes sense. So very recently, like 1.5 years ago, we started Chinese supply chain. So what that basically unlocked for us is worldwide deliveries and very fast as well. So we can deliver worldwide in 3 to 5 business days and very cheap and efficient as well. So now I'm working with a certain company, and everything from our brands is in the same city in Ningbo, China. So funny enough, my factory to fulfillment center, we've had orders before that 10,000 units are ready in 3 days and fulfilled from the factory to the warehouse fulfillment center in like 4 hours, bro.
Wow.
I can never run out of stock because the efficiency is just there. I have credit lines with supply. Don't use credit. I have credit lines with suppliers that I can pay them up to 90 days, and I can scale like however I want. If I run out of stock now, I have 100,000 units in 5 days.
Yeah. So do you ship from China?
Everything in China, so I don't pay any import tax. None of that expensive shipping. It's the new thing, bro. It just makes sense, right? Like China is the biggest production country on planet Earth, so of course it's going to be making sense to supply and ship from there.
You've learned from taking stock and shipping it to Netherlands then?
Yeah.
So when you are fulfilling from China, they ship single products to consumers, no problem?
No problem. Even with local carriers, so they ship we can hide the origin, so you will never see it's from China.
How does that process work then?
It's a complicated process, but
is there a simplified version or not?
It's hard for me to explain. I don't particularly know how it certainly goes. But for the US, it's always local carriers. For Europe, it's always local carriers. It's with the shipping companies how they do that. I mean, there's an extra rate for it, but on big quantities, it's nothing. It's a few cents.
Okay, so everything's getting fulfilled out of China. So you've got fantastic distribution, very little risk. You're operating on credit terms. Everything looks good. How do you then choose, just getting back to the question of like horizontal scaling, what does that process look like? Do you build up in one location and then start copy and pasting the store, or is there anything people need to be aware of when they're doing that?
We are more active in English-speaking countries. That's what works for us. What we have seen, I think there's no one out there that actually outscaled the US market. It's just so massive. It's impossible to outscale that, and that's what works for us, and that's what we are focused on. So before, I was always used to testing, as I said, in the Netherlands or Germany or just European countries, which a lot of people are doing right now. US is something else. It's just something else. And we are in a phase before Q4 that we are trying to test out worldwide, because we have the supply chain ready for that, so we can ship anywhere in the world. I can ship to Africa if I want to, Latin America. So let's see what these markets are saying. That's the phase we are into right now. And as I said, I'm still in 1% of, not even 1% of potential. Like there's scary room for growth still. And it's all new and it's going so fast, but I like that. I like the speed. So that's cool.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so you prefer English-speaking markets, makes sense. And you know what? One thing I did want to touch on as well, which I quite liked, was I had a look at your Skool group. I didn't enter, but I watched your video, which I know you recently launched. And also you had a screenshot on there of kind of the inside of the community. And what I really liked is you had modules for all of the different advertising platforms. You had TikTok, Meta, Google, email, and SMS, which I really liked seeing that, because what I've found is a lot of ecom guys I talk to, or particularly in dropshipping, they're great on Meta, but then you ask about Google or TikTok and some of them aren't even using those platforms. So to me, as someone who's worked with brands who run on Meta, TikTok and Google, to hear that people have really successful businesses but are only focusing on one channel, I always find that quite surprising, because I'm looking at that thinking, you have a whole nother audience or a whole nother revenue stream that you can just add on to there. Like if you already have proof of concept on Meta, let's think about what you said earlier. You should by this point know who your ICP, your ideal customer profile is, right? You know what's working, you know what angles are working, you know what content is top performing. Like Meta is very similar to TikTok in that it's video based. Maybe there's differences regards to how you might might market to the audience on there, in that maybe they're slightly different demographic. Then you can also use that video content on YouTube, on Google if you want to, But not only that, if you know all of your angles and your pain points and what's working, you can create search text campaigns on Google to bring those in, add that to the funnel as well. So I just look at some of these brands and I'm like, I feel like you have so much more potential to really scale this.
Yeah.
So when I saw that you teach all of them, like in my mind, I'm like, well, there's no doubt that you've been able to take brands to the degree that you have from 6 to 7 figure months, because it seems like you're really utilizing all of the available channels. So I don't know if this would be going down a bit of a rabbit hole, but I'm really interested to know what your strategy is for each platform, or how they overlap to build the entire kind of funnel ecosystem that you're leveraging, because it seems like you're doing everything.
Yeah. So it's just about embarrassing the competition. Like, we really want to take that dominating approach. Like, there, you can try and keep up, but there's no single way you even get close to keeping up, right? So we take that dominating position with every single platform we possibly can. I can tell you honestly right now, I've never touched a Google dashboard or analytics. I don't even know what, like, the ads manager, right? I've never touched it, bro. But I can tell you we are printing from Google Ads, right? The room for growth is really where you start building a team. It's not what you know, it's who you know. So when you get to that certain point where you can invest your capital into getting these people in, it's a very easy way to grow. It's a very easy way. So now I'm at a point where I can use my capital to bring people in. So I always tell people, like, okay, hiring a team, getting good people inside your team is actually free. So when I get a Google Media Buyer team in, or when I get, for example, I'm starting utilizing YouTube Shorts even for my ads, right? When I get these people in, they're actually free because they pay themselves out in the results they're getting, right? So I can pay, right? Let's say I hire you. I will pay you a 6-figure retainer a month. If you bring me 7 figures a month, you're free, right? So that's how you should utilize it. And when you have capital and when you really want to scale your company, I'm saying company on purpose because it's not a store. It's not just a Shopify store. Company or a certified brand. Hiring people is key, man. And it's just so easy. When you start reading data well and when you start hiring well, like, how can you fail?
Yeah.
How can you fail? When you have capital, you can literally build a brand and let other people do it. You don't have to touch anything. Even just hiring well, like, you need to know how to do that. That's key.
Spending money to accelerate growth. But where it starts to get difficult, I think, in my own personal opinion, is knowing where and when is the right time to leverage, and also just managing cash flow in general. Like, I know you said, like, obviously you've got Q4 coming up, so you're putting money aside for stock, and you have a team, I think you mentioned, of about 40 people. So I mean, you've probably hired someone to manage the finances and the cash flow, which is maybe your answer. But maybe for someone that's not quite there yet, to have someone do absolutely everything, even though you say, in some senses, people are able to pay for their service and more. When is the right time to know when to hire someone for a particular role? Or do you have a process in place with that? Because that's something I personally struggle with.
Yeah. The right time is when you are too scared.
When you're too scared to hire someone for that position, or you mean just in general?
When you're too scared to hire someone for that position. Because that's when you need to jump. Because when you're too scared, that means you are not really comfortable. And that's the key. When you're not comfortable, you're growing. It's not raining in the comfort zone. That's why there are no flowers there. No rain, no flowers, right? So you need to go out of that comfort zone and just hire. Because like I said, it's just going to pay yourself out, right? It's free. It's literally free. So how I certify it is like there's 2 different types of people you can hire. I call it, it's very brutal, brainless and brain, right? So brainless is saving time and efficiency. So that's people that do customer service or like some things everyone can do, but it saves you time. And brain. When I'm talking about brain, that's really a certain skill you have that can actually elevate and grow your business, right? These people, the brain, these can bring you direct results and direct money. When it makes sense, hire, bro. Hire. Utilize your capital, utilize your cash. Don't be afraid. When you're afraid, it's a good thing. I like fear. When I'm not in fear, I'm feeling, well, I'm not growing.
Yeah. We spoke about this briefly outside, because I really like, well, a lot of things about your mindset, to be honest. And I feel like I relate in some ways, but I'm not to the extreme or the degree that you are. There's definitely some similarities there, and I'd love to keep working towards that. One example is you're talking about you like to position yourself in the shoes of the person that you want to become and almost be the man that you want to become. And I think you said you visited a car showroom, every Saturday, right? For I don't know how long, until you got the Bentley, like every single Saturday going to a showroom and feeling that car and seeing what it felt like. And I'm big on kind of manifesting as well and things like that. But not to that degree. This is what I mean. All the things that I kind of do, you seem to have taken them to another level. So embarrassing the competition, I guess, right? Although I wouldn't say I'm directly competing with you, but, you know, it kind of comes back to your motto or your saying. But yeah, I'm just kind of analysing myself based on what you said there and taking the jump when it feels scary. I think I do often, although I don't mean to, like to stay in that comfort zone, and I'm trying to really train myself out of it. Like I said to you earlier, I'm trying to get rid of any limiting beliefs or any things that maybe had me in that scarcity mindset, and I'm really trying to think more with abundance and spending cash to accelerate growth. So that was why I was asking that question. It was more of a personal one. When's the right time? But I guess when it feels scary. So probably 6 months ago is when I probably should have hired. But this time last year, I was living with my parents at age 27. Today, I live in my dream home in Dubai. If I knew then what I know now, I could have achieved this in 6 months instead of 3 years. Within my Google Ads Ecom Academy, you can learn how to scale e-commerce businesses with Google Ads. These strategies helped me work with known ecom brands like CheeseGeek, as seen on Dragon's Den and invested in by Stephen Bartlett. I also scaled my brother's business, Tropay Official, to 1.1 million in sales in 12 months, as well as many, many more. The Google Ads Ecom Academy is designed for all levels, beginners, intermediates, and experts who want to learn how to successfully scale e-commerce businesses. If you want to win with Google Ads, see the video description for more details. All right, now back to the podcast. Before we digress too much into like team building, financials, and cash flow, you mentioned you obviously don't get involved in the ad account or inside of the ads. Could you maybe share like some of the top level strategy or some of the things that you see working really well right now in e-com in general, or maybe just in your niche? Is there anything you could kind of share from that?
Content. Content is where the biggest ROI is in e-com right now. People have different opinions on that, but I truly believe it's content. What we tend to do is we give commissions out. So a lot of creators out there, they have the following, they have the social media accounts. We give them a commission for building content. They can post their stuff online and they get a commission, affiliate link, and they get profit out of that. So I always believe in business, what you're doing should be a win-win for everyone involved. Everyone, like anyone that touches the product or everyone that's inside the business, even the customer, should be a win-win for everyone. So you should always position it in that way. So when it's a win-win for everyone, it's easy to compound on that, right? So if you can outplay the content, you're just winning. So what we tend to do lately is TikTok. So we give TikTok creators a commission of the content they make. We send out a product. Like my cost of goods is it's stupidly low. I don't care. Like I only pay for the shipping $4 now or something, and that's it, right? They make some content. They get a commission if they make orders. If they don't make orders, they get nothing, right? I can utilize that content to strategize it on other platforms. So I've built a system where I have unlimited content. If you ever see an ad library with over 100,000 creatives, it's probably me. Like content is you need to outplay that. Like that's where the biggest ROI is, because let's say you look at your ad manager right now, the frequency will always be over 1. That means people are seeing your content again and again and again, right? So we are in a world that the dopamine level is just, people have no attention, bro. And you need to basically convert attention into printing, into money. And everything is about content nowadays, 2024. So start mastering that and the rest is easy.
For sure. So you think building like a big affiliate network, especially on TikTok, and then leveraging that content on other platforms.
That's a good strategy, of course. This is a strategy I use, but there are lots of other strategies out there. There are lots of good video editors that can get you loads of variants and whatnot. So yeah, get proof of concept, see what works, and dial into that.
For sure.
Compounding is key.
Yeah, 100%. So I know you've got a couple of different brands. What niches are they in? Are you able to share that, or just like what industry?
I can say cosmetic supplements. It's a difficult niche.
Yeah, okay. So would they typically be sort of lower AOV products? Or like what's average order?
Oh, average order value?
Yeah.
We always sell more quantities. I do sell a lot of subscriptions. Subscriptions, the average order value is low, but it compounds, right? As compounding is key.
Yeah.
So depends on the offer we are running. I would say it's between $30 and $50.
Okay. One thing I did want to ask you about, but I don't know that it will directly apply to selling that kind of order value, was I've heard or seen people now leveraging things like VSLs and advertorials and ecom, which I found quite interesting. Advertorials, I know they've been around for a little while, but now people, it's kind of new to me, maybe it's also been happening for a while, are using VSLs, particularly with higher ticket products. I've not heard of anyone doing it for lower ticket, but I was just curious if you'd ever leveraged anything like that in your niche. Maybe advertorials would still be applicable to cosmetics and supplements.
I haven't been running to direct product pages for over a year.
Okay.
You have to really warm your audience up and understand that you're really you're doing marketing. You need to go back to basics. Like you're trying to get an impulse buy, right? That's not going to happen when you directly put a product in someone's face. The same when you go on a holiday, right? You go to the beach and there's this guy setting up let's say, yo, buy this sunglasses.
Yeah.
He's putting it right in your face. Of course, you're going to be like, yo, what? Chill, bro. I don't want that. But if he is slowly informing you about the product, how well it is, how good it is, how it's dialed into your emotions, how it's going to solve your problems, see, that's going to make you warmer, and that's going to make you be more interesting in the product, right? You can utilize that with retargeting. Of course, you have the frequency, so people are coming back to your website anyways. So we always use pre-lenders. We use some VSLs. It's not something we are dialed into right now because we have a different sort of audience with a very short attention span, to be honest. But bro, you need to understand that you really have to warm up your audience, and you're selling. You're not just, there are not robots that are buying. There are no robots that are coming. It's real emotions, real people. And the better you can basically show them the emotion they are buying into, the easier it's going to be them to purchase. So I'll give you an example. When you go to a pharmacy, you're dying of stomach pains, right? If you see a painkiller that's going to solve stomach pain, are you even thinking, bro? Like you're going to fucking buy it as fast as you can, right?
Yeah.
So you need to understand the product. You buy it as fast as you can because you understand the emotion. You understand it's going to solve your problem. You need to make sure people are understanding that, and that way they can buy into the product.
For sure. That seems like more of maybe a long-term strategy as well.
Yeah.
Because I guess there's only so many people at the bottom of the funnel who need that immediate pain relief. If we're going on that example, you're going to very quickly hit total addressable market, and you need to kind of work your way back up the funnel. So I guess if you're already nurturing people at the top and bringing them down, then advertorials or VSLs are probably a very good way to go. It's interesting, you know, the game's always changing, and I heard someone else say that recently, that people aren't sending people to product pages anymore. You know, they're starting much further up in the buyer cycle and kind of really nurturing them into that sale. So it's interesting to see it's going that way, but it makes sense.
Maybe to explain it more easy, before you start selling, your message has to be clear. So you need to understand, like I said, you need to understand the emotion. How is this product going to improve my life? Because people don't have attention. Trust me, people are not reading the product pages anymore and reading all that shit.
Yeah.
Your emotions, your product, your solutions need to be clear. Your message needs to be clear before you start selling.
Yeah.
We don't show our product prices like later down the funnel. Like first, we want to make sure our customer, or the people that come to our website, our visitors, know everything about the product. They're like, oh, this is amazing, this is sick, it's gonna solve this and that, and then okay, here you can buy it. Good luck.
Makes sense. That's a question I was going to ask. It's actually slipped my mind. When we were talking about the funnel, yeah, that was it. You said you don't send people to a product page. So what does that process look like then? Where do you send them? Have you got a separate lander where you're, I guess, just nurturing them and then you send them to the product page?
Yeah, so we always use pre-lenders. That can be anything, depending on the audience and the customer persona we are targeting to. It's about testing. Like a product testing, it comes back in hand with that as well. So it can be a listicle, it can be blogs, it can be anything that pushes engagement. So people want to be entertained. That's why they open the social media app, right? So we use ways to entertain people whilst getting the message out there as well. Once they feel entertained and be like, oh, this is actually cool. It's actually a cool product. Let me give you an example. You have stomach pains, right? You see this ad of a good content, a good creative strategy, of like a good creative of solving, this product is going to solve your stomach pains immediately, a painkiller, right? Okay, you come on a landing page that basically explains you the emotion of that product that's going to solve your pain, literally, instantly. That instant is the strongest word in marketing, really. And you're like, oh, this product is cool, where can I buy it? You're telling yourself, I need to buy it. You're telling yourself the product is cool because you put that message out there. So it can be any page. Advertorials are cool. Listicles work very well. Just a summary, futures call out, blog pages. It's all different types of pages we test out. You just have to make sure you have a good offer. I think the offer is the biggest impact on conversion rate, and that's what really makes people buy.
Definitely. I think it comes back to just selling in general, doesn't it? Because a lot of things that I'm listening to you saying there, I think are also applicable to an agency or a service-based business, like crafting a strong offer, nurturing your leads so that they trust you and see that you can actually deliver on the results that you're saying you can deliver on, as opposed to just saying like, this is what we charge, take it or leave it. You know, you wouldn't come in that way if you were selling a service-based business either. So I think it's just marketing in general, but interesting to see the overlap there between ecom and service. What about capturing data? Because if you are sending someone to a listicle, you're still going to get a number of those people bounce. So how can you capture data, or maybe email numbers or phone numbers? What kind of offers could you potentially run on there, or to then be able to get them into your mailing list and further nurture them?
Of course, the pixel does a good job in there. So when people land on your landing page, of course, the pixel's going to track that and push up more content to them. That's why I'm telling you the content strategy is everything, because the better that is, the more people you get into your funnel. So that's one thing to dial into as well. When it comes to collecting email and SMS, it's value for value. So a lot of people are just, hey, give me your email. It doesn't work like that. You have to see an email as really a valuable asset, right? Because an email, bro, it's cheaper to send out an email than fill out Mark Zuckerberg's pockets, right? So that's the quote I always use. And when you're collecting emails, you have to make sure it's value for value. So I see a lot of people like testing out 10% off and all this boring stuff. No, we give out huge value for just an email. It can be a digital product, it can be a whole course or anything. You can be creative with that. But the bigger your value is, of course, the more emails you're going to collect. Your email marketing needs to be on point with that, of course, but that's just going to lead more people into the funnel.
Yeah, again, relating it back to like a service-based business, it's just like a strong lead magnet, right?
Literally.
Like get that lead in and then nurture them in the email. So it's interesting. There's definitely a lot of overlap there, and interesting to kind of hear your strategy. So very big on content, not so big on sending people direct to landing pages. Always have pre-landers, and really kind of nurture them, give a lot of value up front, and kind of nurture them into that sale, and then try and get that monthly recurring revenue with subscriptions and things like that. So I think there's a lot of benefit there, because I feel like a lot of people, if they were starting out in dropshipping, probably would just go the classic route where maybe set up some meta ads, test a few different angles, send people to a landing page, and then maybe they're disregarding that product or thinking, oh, it doesn't work. But I think maybe there's so many different pieces there that they've missed out. And I guess no one starts with all of these things in place, right? You've got to get a bit of proof of concept and you keep developing on it. But I think hopefully that what you've explain there with regards to your strategy will maybe give people a bit more insight as to some things that they could potentially test, in really identifying their ideal customer profile, learning who they're marketing to, how to market to them best, and think of it more of a long-term strategy, I guess. Really nurture those people, provide value, keep them around, and make sure they keep coming back to buy your product if it's something they'd repeat purchase or anything like that. So very interesting. Now, when it comes to financials, which obviously is something you're very big on now, is making sure that you have cash flow available, especially when you're scaling into things like Q4, making sure you have stock available. You talked earlier about when's the right time, or when the right time is to kind of outsource and bring other people in. Building teams, I feel like that's something that people will often sometimes struggle with. And I know myself, when it first came to hiring, I hired a couple of people that I think I made some wrong decisions. I tried to hire based on what I believed was skill set, but completely disregarded personality and whether or not they're someone that they really kind of fit into the company that I'm building and things like that. You mentioned you have a team of 40. To be honest, thinking about it, you're probably going to say I have someone that deals with hiring for me. But when it comes to building a team, and kind of building a strong base of people that you can rely on as well, have you got any insights you could maybe share on that process?
Yeah, so I hire always personally. I will never ask a staff member to hire for me.
Amazing.
Because of one single very simple reason, is we hire based on what, like you said, personality. So it's funny because my team is literally a reflection of me. We are all the same people. We are literally like a family. I wake up with so much energy because the team is just has the same energy. We even do with inside our Slack channel. We do daily push-ups. We make videos of that. We post it. Everyone has the same energy. They sees the same vision. I always pay on results. The more results we have, the more the company is growing, the more you are growing as an individual as well. I don't believe in just a retainer. Commission is everything. So you really need to treat your team well. You really always need to treat your people well. When it comes to hiring, skill set, of course, it's important. But once the vision is there, once people are really happy with working together, I would say working together. I will never say work for someone. It's just literally a team, right? So when you're really happy to work together with someone, if the efforts are there, it's very easy to reach a very high skill level for sure. So, yeah, that's basically it.
You said earlier when you were talking about affiliates, like always pay based on value or kind of what's coming in. So the fact that you also apply that to your own team as well, I think is great, you know, and staying true to that. And if you're earning more, paying them more. I like what you mentioned about the Slack channel, 100 push-ups. We implemented something similar for our team in Slack. We're not 40 though, there's 4 of us, but we created, I think, 5 different channels, and I'm a big advocate on getting everyone to kind of post something in there daily. We have like health and diet, mindset, exercise, happiness, and just mindset. And I post in there, not necessarily all the channels, but regularly on a daily basis, like just hit a gym workout, who's training today, picture of in the gym. Yesterday I put a picture of me in the ice bath, like, you know, who's getting out and challenging themselves today. And it had a really good response from the team when we implemented it a couple of months ago. I think it just strips back all barriers of, like you said, working for someone and more like working together. And me and my business partner are very mindful as well of like creating an environment where we really are working together. Like, we give everyone the freedom to work from home, work remote. All we ask is that you help us on this goal of kind of growing this business. And I think I really like the idea that you mentioned there. We've kind of done a similar thing and had great results from it. So getting the team involved, bro, and just turning it into more like a family, you know?
Yeah, that's
like,
important. And what's the best of it? Like, you can really build on someone. Like I said, I don't know how to do certain things in my business. I'm not the best in financials. I'm not the best in, let's say, Google Ads and whatnot. But I can get the people in that are the best. I have literally A players. I'm not going to say some names, but I've got some people from other brands outside that are working for my brand right now, you know? And that's just amazing, man. You can really build on someone and really trust their level of skills. And it's just great to also see them improve and elevate in life, right? You bring that energy with you. So you see them getting the results, a bigger retainer every month because we are growing. Their lifestyle changes. Some of the team members are getting new cars or new trophies. And it's just amazing to see, man.
It is amazing, bro. And I think it kind of gives you that same fulfillment that you get when you're mentoring someone, to be able to have someone not only providing for your company, but then you're also allowing them to kind of level up. Is a win-win on both sides, you know, like you say, like bringing everyone up with the company. I think it's really, really important, and probably makes you feel even more fulfilled if someone's just letting you know they've bought a new car, as long as it's not a Montsori. Otherwise you have to get another one, right?
And I like giving them a lot of responsibility, right? That gives them some sort of, how can you say that? Like trust, and they feel important if you do that. So they get a lot of responsibility. If you can't handle that, you're not in my team. So that works as well.
Yeah, for sure. Trust and responsibility, I think. Throw people in at the deep end. They know what their responsibilities are. They know what they need to live up to. I think I've kind of taken a lot from this podcast personally, and I hope everyone watching has. I think you shared a lot of insight into not only the best way, or what you believe to be the best way, to build a successful brand and business, what's clearly worked for you, but also just the other side of it that people don't often talk about, and that's turning it from a store to like a business or a brand that is then truly scalable. And I think, is that what you would say is the difference between those kind of 6-figure months and the 7-figure months, building the systems, building the team to be able to support the infrastructure for growth?
100%. So I get this question I get a lot. Like, what's the mindset that switched for you from 6 figures? There's no fucking mindset, bro. Come on. When I started the business, of course, I had my mind on fucking 10 figures. There's no mindset change that switched for me from 6 to no. That's just for pussies. I set my mind to fucking 10 figures. I'm doing peanuts right now.
Yeah.
In terms of business wise, the change for me was really to go from dropshipping to branding. Why? Because I was keeping blushing fires, I would say. I didn't have momentum. I didn't have something to compound on. I didn't have such an unreliable and not sustainable business that I couldn't build a team around that, or I couldn't trust my business. I couldn't stand on that, or whatever. Once you really have something you can build momentum on, I'm such used to looking for like new things that are working or looking for new strategies, and I see that happening a lot in ecom. Now I have something in place where I can just focus on, you know. It's weird because I'm not used to it. I can just tunnel vision, focus on what's working and dial into that. So now I can compound. Now I have momentum. So for me to add an extra zero to the revenue is not as difficult. It's just a matter of time and cash flow.
No doubt. I'm
Yeah.
excited to see what you're able to achieve in the next 6 months or even a year.
Yeah.
I can feel the momentum that you've got at the moment, and it's making me really evaluate how I'm spending my time, and it's something I know I need to work on, and that's continuing to sort of outsource and systemize and automate where possible. Because as much as I feel like I have tunnel vision, I know there's still things that I'm doing that I probably just shouldn't be spending my time on. And it's distracting me from what would otherwise actually be growing the business and really just focusing on those high ROI skills or the tasks that only I can do. But even then, like you said, am I the only one that can do it? You can always hire an A player, right? So I think it's given me a lot to kind of think on and reevaluate. So I really, really appreciate you sharing that and just your mindset in general. Like I said, I think there's definitely some overlap, but I've got a lot to work on to be able to kind of come to the extreme that you're at. So got some things there for me to kind of take away and work on. So yeah, appreciate you sharing that. I think we shared a lot here. So we went through kind of validating a niche, starting with your ICP, understanding who you're marketing to, whether that be a Karen or someone else, and building out around that. Then bringing your product to market, using fulfillment from China or elsewhere, and eliminating the need to take stock if you don't need to. So minimizing risk, even though I know you're a big advocate for pushing risk, but where you can, kind of strip it back. Talked about different platforms, didn't get into kind of the nitty gritty of scaling on each platform, but that content is a big part of your strategy. And getting products out to people to operate on an affiliate basis has also proven to work very well for you. Mindset in general, the mindset that you need to win, hiring A players, managing team members, incentivizing team members. Hopefully we covered a lot there for people to pull a lot of value from. Is there anything or any like finishing thoughts that come to mind that you'd maybe like to share? Anything at all? You don't have to, but just thought I'd open it out to you in case there's anything that you believe would be valuable to people watching.
Yeah, maybe for the people watching, like, just don't come to play, man. Like, don't take part, take over. Embarrassing competition, like I said, you just go all in, man. You need to start dominating. Like, what you're going to do, like I said, people are asking this mindset change or no, bro. Set your mind to fucking 12 figures.
Yeah.
Why is that not possible? You can achieve anything you set your mind to. For
Amazing.
sure.
Well, I really appreciate that, and everything you've shared is kind of the finishing thoughts. Difaino, where can people find you? I know you've got your Skool group. I know you do a bit of limited one-to-one mentoring, but could you maybe just share your socials, websites, things like that?
So the Skool group is actually very sick for the people at home. It's $1 a day. Like, we have 3 weekly calls there, or 3 calls a week, like in groups format. There's a full-on course there, not only from me, but also from experts in the field, like some big names, like some actually big names. We get like 8 or 9 people in there that are actually created a course inside my Skool community. It's just all hungry people. Like, everyone's the same, just like me, hungry for more and just out there to get it, right? So that Skool community is just, again, embarrassing competition with all the other products out there. I'm not going to mention any name, but the level of the Skool community just for $1 a day is absolutely scary. There is the mentorship. I do have to say that that's something limited. I don't promote that. Maybe it's good for the people to just send me a DM if that's something that they're interested in. I'm active on all socials. I'm gonna target YouTube soon as well, so that's coming. I bought a camera to force myself to make some videos. It's just laying around, but I'm gonna do it. So let's see where we can bring that. Instagram, I share a lot of knowledge on Twitter as well, or X, whatever you call it. People appreciate that a lot. So I'm gonna keep on doing that for sure. But the Skool community level, the value we're sharing there is just scary. So I'll highly recommend for people to join it. I don't like to sell anything, but it's $1 a day. If you can't afford that, like, don't join. You know.
Yeah. I'll put the links for all of your handles and the Skool group and everything in the video description. So if people want to, they can definitely check that out, and I'd recommend that they do as well. But yeah, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you very much for coming on. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me, brother.
Anytime, bro. And
show the people.
I was going to
watch.
say, I didn't
Show the
forget.
people to
I
watch.
didn't forget the gift. It's honestly, bro, incredibly kind of you. Really, really appreciate it. Let's see what we got here.
This is a little bit of if you know, you know. But if you know, it's a nice watch, bro.
Amazing, bro. Thank you so much, brother.
You're welcome, bro.
There we go for the cameras. Gift from Difaino. Thank you, bro. Honestly, I really, really appreciate it. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Did you well, for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I won't have an empty wrist on the podcast anymore.
Yeah, man. And when you go to the UK, wear this one, bro. Don't wear a Rolex over there. It's a mess over there, I heard.
Bro, things are getting kind of crazy. Oh, there we go. I've got a big hand and a big wrist. Let me just do it a slightly different way.
There we go.
And you knew this was my color as well. Look.
Oh yeah, bro. Sick.
Got the shoes.
That's
There
my
we go.
favorite
What do we
color, this
think?
one, bro. It looks very nice.
Thank
It
you,
looks
brother.
good, bro.
I really, really appreciate it. Thank you very
Suit you
much.
well.